Hello, in this demo we look at how going forward we will import our databases to the designer. The nice thing about this approach is that one is afforded the opportunity to define their views up front, before an import takes place. Just like before, we open our project settings and then connect to the database. This then saves the complete database schema to the designer. Our database has 15 tables, and we will convert the ones we want to data tables. We will also define the view for our input forms. We select the table to convert from the provided list of tables. The table schema is loaded, and we can manipulate it to suit our needs. Let's use a smaller table instead. We click on the content that we want to change, and on the Edit dialog we make the changes and press Enter. We want the first field to be auto increment and also a primary key. This is just for the designer to understand. The auto increment field and primary key should already be defined in the underlying database. For the second field, we specify the row column position that these will take on the dialog box for input. We have already changed the label to be name. We will also use the switches to define more properties. These properties are what will be already in the property bag for this column. When we are done, we need to save all these changes. At the moment we do not have any components for our app, thus the red indicator. After we finish defining our view, let us convert the table schema to a data table. We can later make changes to it when we want on the Schema tab. When we are done, our components will be incremented. We now have one component added. This is the table we just imported. Selecting the table will activate its property bag, and we can then update it to suit our needs. We will later update each column of the data table so that it links to our input components nicely. You should be familiar with these steps from our previous mock compile publish videos. We have activated the Schema tab. There we find all our source code that we will use in our B4X app for this data table and its related dialog box. Let's also close all the drawers so that we have a bigger working area. After we make changes to the schema, we need to save the changes so that we have a new defined user interface for this data table. We can then export this code so that we can build our B4X Banano project. Let us refresh the stage so that we can see the changes that have been made. The input components will be generated and added to the stage.